Good evening and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, so we're playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland. This is the third investigation that the group are undertaking. And we're having a lovely time. Before we get started, we'll do some promo stuff. So below the video, links to our Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, or YouTube if you're watching on Twitch. Our social media pages, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat with us. And it's also probably the best place to get updates on when things are on. And also a link to our Patreon. So if you enjoy what we do on the channel and want to support us, you can do so there. Other things that we do on the channel, Simba Room on a Wednesday evening in this time slot, 8 till 10 GMT, BST, whichever one it is. Now, the UTC is always the time. Also we do a one-shot or two a month on a weekend with different players and GMs and systems and stories. So the next one is this coming Saturday, which is the 29th, and is Goblin Quest. It's going to be very silly, and I'm really looking forward to watching that. Cool. Let's do recaps from last session. So let's bring on Justin first, who plays Gale Mosling Forcemark.
Hello.
Hey, Justin. So you ended the previous session doing a little research into what you had seen around the house. And I think that Gale already knew, but...
Maybe deep down. Yeah, and he'd been quite angry, and he was sitting in the library berating Hux for breathing loudly and other things like that. And Hux pointed out that he'd also seen this creature, which slightly reassured Gale. They worked out, it is a fairy, and he talked to Hux about it, but also talked with Rupert, the proprietor of the house, who said that it must be a recent, guest of the house, and we set about trying to search for it. Encountered it. Gale shouted at it to go away, and otherwise haven't seen much of it. It hasn't returned to the strange cupboard that Gale doesn't know about.
And it looked quite dejected at the time.
It looked quite dejected, yeah.
It didn't run off. It's sort of...
Do I give a frick?
Gale doesn't care. No, not a bit. Yes, thank you. Cool. Let's bring on Inga, who plays Constance. Hey, Inga.
Yeah.
So, yes, you were spending some time with Gladys.
Yeah, I hung out with Gladys for the day, really. Bonneville, Henry came along to ask some questions as well about Rachel, so we could kind of pursue that line of questioning a little bit, or that line of investigation rather. And he got some intel about what she looks like, where they used to meet, and the most useful bit really being that she may have been a member of the Theatre Royal at Drury Lane, near enough by here in London. So we figured that was a trail that we could have a little look at as well. But yeah, Constance stayed home with Gladys while some other investigations were going on. Tried a bit of reading up on fairies, having now heard that there was some stuff going on with fairies in the house. Didn't really find anything. I think the only other thing of note really was that we sent out a couple of letters. So Gladys had written a letter for Esme, which she gave to Henry to post. Henry had sent out a telegram to Esme to basically say, you're going to get a letter from Gladys, and here's what's been going on, and kind of report back, because we're not sure what she's going to say. Was very very good and proper though. Didn't open the letter, just sent out the telegram sort of at the same time. And Constance had previously sent a letter out to her church where she had converted to kind of ask a few questions, and has had a response back, welcoming her to kind of come back and visit and discuss things further at any point in the future when she might want to. So kind of filing that one away for another option open to us at some point as well.
Lovely, thank you. Let's bring on Sam, who plays Magnus Huxley. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
You used your sort of contacts talent that you had gained previously.
I had indeed. So I made the roll, I think it was like 2 or 3 sessions ago, actually. To come up with the NPC Shorty, who's kind of like just a local fisherman, totally just a fisherman, down by the riverside, who might know more of what's going on in the area. So I picked up a bottle of gin, and me and Gail head down to the riverside. Yeah, we met them down there, just a few folks around the fire. Basically asked if they knew any more about what was going on. We got a name for the guy who'd gone missing, which was handy, which I don't have on me. Johnny, what was the name of the guy? They don't want to remember. I should have asked that beforehand, shouldn't I? Yeah, and then there we go.
Jack Plenty.
Jack Plenty. There we go. Yeah, so that's handy. So we can do a bit more research and find out if we know anything else about the guy himself now, because I think we didn't get that originally, even though the police did. And then we kind of just asked generally if there'd been any other strange goings on the riverside, or basically any other disappearances really that they knew about. We didn't get much more specifically about that sort of thing, but we did get more about Jack Plenty. Thinking about it, we did get a little bit more about that he was an out-of-towner who'd maybe come here like almost like a trip to come fishing, or he had called a kit and everything. So just thought it was a bit odd that this one guy had come to the Thames for a specific bit of fishing and then had got caught by this thing. So I don't know. More thinking to be done on that, certainly, but didn't really give us lots more clues anyway. But otherwise, Shorty said, well, I kind of told Shorty if he knows anything else or comes across anything else odd by the riverside, or disappearances or anything else like that sort of thing, to get in touch with us. And I gave him our address, and he'll pop round in that case. And then we went to the pub, which was nice because Gail recovered some. I think it was Angry You Were, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Lovely, thank you. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry Bonneville. Hey, Steve. You were following up the Rachel Brown lead.
Yes. Yes. So having asked those questions of Gladys, we were lucky enough to get a possible lead in that this Rachel Brown is apparently a member of, the Theatre Royal at Drury Lane. Weren't entirely certain beforehand whether Rachel Brown was indeed named Rachel Brown or whether this was a pseudonym. But it seemed, approached the theatre and sort of asked some gentle questions purporting to be an old friend. And with the exchange of a few coins just to make up for some awful rolls, managed to find out that yes, she would be at the theatre this very evening. So with that knowledge in hand, the plan is to go back and probably, hopefully, follow her to her place of residence, something like that. Or, everything will go wrong, or we'll get caught and attacked. Who can say?
Yeah, thank you. An important note there as well that you could make up for bad dice rolls with coins to either NPCs or the GM at any time. Finally, let's bring on John, who plays B. Hey, John. So everyone returned to Rose House. You all reconvened.
Yes. And then we sort of caught each other up on everything that had happened. And then some of us, mostly Mosling, decided to go to the library for further investigation of fairies and or sea serpents. Someone, mostly Hux, I think, went just to keep an eye on Mosling and keep an eye on what else might be keeping an eye on Mosling. And B decided to go fairy hunting. First, she checked the cupboard that looked like it hadn't been visited since the morning. And then she sort of like patrolled around the library where Mosling was, and then sort of poked her head into Mosling's room just to see if there was anything. And on Mosling's pillow was a piece of model railway, which we're assuming isn't what Mosling sleeps with normally.
Yeah.
I can confirm it's
And that's
not
where
my,
we left it.
It's not my memento. That's not taken my special stress relief mechanic.
So what does B do with this knowledge?
First thing I'm going to do is check the room to see if there's any other any other traces of someone having been there.
Okay, give me it'd be investigation, wouldn't it? Yeah, investigation roll, please.
Okay.
How tidy is Mosling?
That's a really good question. I mean, how well, is there anything that would indicate
Bear in mind,
this?
he's been angry as well.
He had been angry, but maybe
Or
he's
maybe
an
it's
angry
how good it's
tidier.
walking.
That was no successes on 7 dice.
Okay. I will say that. I mean, Justin, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm going to say that the room isn't particularly messy, but it's also not completely orderly. So if the bed had been primly made and something small had hopped up onto the bed, you might be able to see an imprint where something had been, but it hasn't been tightly made.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for you to say because it's not in a complete state of array. I'll just say that. So it could be that Mosling has just put this there on his way out for whatever reason.
I'm gonna.
But B didn't see the fairy, right? You didn't see the grumpy sad fairy. It was just Hux and Gale.
Earlier, yeah.
Just Hux and Gale, I think.
Yeah, okay.
But Adam has seen the fairy outside Mosling's room.
Yeah.
I'll go to the library.
Okay.
Sort of knock on the door, poke my head in.
I think it's safe to assume by now Hux has fallen asleep. Nothing has happened in a while, and the library is very boring and warm. So Hux is just on the back of a cello.
Does Hux snore?
Yeah. Maybe it's like an effort.
I think we had sort of stated that before.
Gale might have woken me up if I was snoring too loud, to be fair.
But... we did rolls last time, didn't we, for what everybody found, I think. Did we do that
so.
at the end? Yeah, cool. So yeah, you're maybe just discussing things that you found when B wanders back in.
Mosley?
Yes? How can I help?
Can you come with me for a moment?
So is Bonneville and Sister Constance also here, or?
Yes, I was.
Yeah,
I was looking up. I think I was in the library because I failed an 8 dice roll for looking up sea serpent stuff.
I think Constance took some books back to the chapel, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I'll say, gentlemen, and stand up, and accompany B out of the room.
I will escort you to your own room without comment. And just see if anything looks out of place in there.
Okay. I stick my head in. Try to make a roll to see if things look out of place.
You pretty quickly you notice that there's something on your pillow that wasn't there, I think.
Well, I do appreciate.
I'm happy for you to make an investigation roll the same way as B did if you want to try and see.
Well, if I've been explicitly asked, is anything odd about this room,
then
I think that would certainly merit an investigation roll. Oops-a-daisy. With 1 success.
Okay, you think that you can see a sort of point in the bedding that is impressed with sort of what could be two small creatures' footmarks. As
Has
well
your
as,
son-
of course, the bit of train track on the pillow.
Yeah, I'll pick up the train track and give it back to B and go, I think your son may have been in here. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Adam knows better than to go into other people's rooms.
He's a smart young man. You don't think, looking back in the room...
I think someone's been leaving you gifts, Mosling. Which doesn't exactly sound like the vicious creature you've been telling us about.
This is very disturbing. You keep it, B. I'm going. I close the door, close the door behind me, so I'm not in the room, and then lock it. And then I go. I think maybe I will stay at home tonight. I'll call round in the morning, I think. First thing. Better tell everyone I'm heading out.
You could try asking it to stay out of your room.
I don't think these things can be reasoned with. They're obviously up to some diabolical scheme. You can just look at it. The message is clear. It wants to kill me.
I thought you liked trains.
I'll explain it in the morning. I need to work out exactly the depth of this message it's trying to sell me. It's like waking up. They say like waking up with a piece of a train in your bed. It's a message, famous message. I do need to sleep. I've been reading a lot. I can bear. My eyes are shifting in our focus. This is exactly the kind of time it would launch out at me. I know. I do need to go though. Is there anything else I can help you with before I do head out?
That was it.
No. Right. Well, I should really grab my looking back at the room. Never mind. I'll have money at the house to pay for the cab. Right. Well, I'll see you in the morning, and I head out of the front door. Or head to the front door and out.
Okay.
And I will go back to the library to explain to everyone that Mosling has left the building.
My Hux is awake now. I just want to be awake now. What made him leave?
I'll hold up the train. It's train track, isn't it? Or is it a train?
Like a little segment of track, yeah.
I will hold up the piece of track.
Is that?
Whose is that?
Well, it was on Mosling's pillow. I reckon it was a gift.
Oh.
Mosling reckons it was a warning. But
Well,
I have to be honest, I don't really get the meaning.
Well, when he yelled at it the other night, or was it early tonight? It was early tonight. It looked mighty upset. Like, I don't know, real sad, I thought. Maybe it is trying to make friends. Weird, though, eh? Why it wants him so much.
Why is it trying to make friends with Mosling?
And where did this track come from, anyway? We haven't seen any model railways around the place? Have we? We've not.
Jonny, a closer look at the thing. Is it presumably is a child's model railway, or is it like a nice posh, like, you know, adult train set sort of thing, or is it like a little?
It's quite a nice little model railway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So appropriately for perhaps adult modeling rather than. Presumably, we haven't seen any of this in the house. Is there like a shop nearby or anything like that this could have come from that we could think of?
Is there some sort of hallmark on the back of the track that sort of indicates?
Exactly. Can you make an investigation roll, Sam, just to see sort of your, you know, local knowledge of?
I'll roll my 4 dice and get 2 successes.
Okay. Yes, there is sort of a model, you know, a toy / model shop nearby.
Mm-hmm.
That you could go and have a look at if you yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just say, well, it probably came from old Donaldson's model shop up the road, didn't it? I guess, but I guess it nicked it and brought it here for him. Doubt he paid for it.
No,
Anyway, it doesn't
probably
explain
not.
much why the heck it wants modeling so much. To be honest, I kind of understand why he's creeped out.
There's not much we can. I guess we can carry on looking and see whether it makes an appearance again. I certainly don't understand the fascination with train sets or Mosling himself. But
well, clearly it understands what we're saying, unless it was just the anger in his voice it got earlier. I'm presuming it knows what we say, so maybe we can ask it why it wants him so much. If anyone spots it.
Unless it follows him home.
Clinging to the bottom of the carriage.
Went out to steal a train set.
If this was a story now, like it's alright TV or something now, it would now cut to Gale and the carriage and just dun, dun, to the bottom of the carriage, wouldn't it?
that would be perfect.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Smash cut, Jonny says.
Has anyone told Sister Constance and do we want to tell Gladys about it? Anyway, has anyone told them about this?
Not yet. I can guess what the sister will say about it.
Yeah. Well, I kind of go and stretch up and stand up and go, I better go tell them then.
All right.
I'll wander over to the church if that's
Yeah, you wander in and I presume Constance is having a look through some books.
I'll probably politely not, because it's that sort of time they might have settled. I don't know.
Yeah. Gladys is knitting.
What's coming on episode? Well, your knit stitch. Maybe we'll look at Pearl Stitches next. Oh,
Well,
hello,
thank
Hux.
you.
Oh, hey. It is looking good, that. Never managed to get the hang of knitting myself. Big hands. We might have I kind of lower my voice, but probably not quite enough that Gladys can't actually hear. We have another guest in the house, another creature. It's a fairy this time, it seems. I don't know if you've heard creeping around up in the rafters and bits and bobs in the rooms.
Yes, I brought up some books to try and have a look, but I've not really had much luck, really. Has something else happened?
Yeah, it's well, we saw it not long ago, myself and Mosling, and he seems especially bothered by it. It seems to be interested in it for some reason, don't know why. But he yelled at it, told it to go away, and it apparently left a present on his pillow. A little model train thing. So really likes him, I guess. He got well creeped out, and he's run off now back home.
Is he safe? Has anybody gone with him?
Don't think so. He sort of did it, without us asking.
Do we know where he stays, where his home is?
I will definitely shrug. The others might.
We really
I'll
ought to
say
have a
that's up
little
to-
record.
Justin.
I gave them all my card. Like, if they lost it, that's
Yeah,
not my fault.
I mean, I can't read, so maybe someone else has your card.
Oh, I don't remember getting your card. If I've got a card, then that's fine.
The really sad thing is when you turn up and you realise that I live in like a 4-bedroom house with like all empty rooms, like, and it's all just like it's all like disrepair.
Oh no!
I'm just there on my own.
No.
Well, perhaps we ought to check in on him in the morning, or is he coming back?
Yeah, I think B said he'd be back straight away in the morning. So I guess if he's not, then we can check on him.
Right.
Sure, be fine.
I
These
thought
things
he was
don't
going to
tend-
stay in the chapel, but I think he really might have been safer here. But
Yeah. Well, hopefully it can't chase him. Don't imagine he get that far.
well, we've got to deal with this new infestation, then, haven't we? Causing trouble and mischief already.
Well,
There's nothing in these books, though.
it seems like it can communicate or at least listen to us. So might try just asking it. I know devils and all that, but still talking to them might help better than nothing if they just run away. So if you see it, maybe ask it something or tell it something.
Remember, you can't trust a word any of these things say.
Yeah, I know. Thinking about the adorable pixies. Anyway, just so you know, in case you see it and all that, watch out.
Extra vigilant. Got it.
Sure, you'll be all right here.
Does this change anything? I suppose there's still the plan to go to the theatre this evening.
Again, shrug.
Right. Well, thank you for the update, Hux.
I'll wander back off. Maybe go and get myself some food.
I'll just carry on with Gladys.
So Steve and John, what are Henry and B doing?
I might go and double check with Hawkins that this railway track hasn't come from somewhere in the house.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Well, I guess there's a few hours to go before the theatre event, so I'll probably be sort of. I'm still not certain as to whether I should go in and sort of go into the actual theatre and keep an eye on them in the theatre, or whether we just wait outside and follow them as a group. But I think I am leaning towards if I go in, if B is able to sort of keep a watch outside, perhaps I can go in and try and see, keep an eye on Rachel within the theatre and maybe see who she's with, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be getting sort of ready, getting some smarter clothes, getting prepped. Maybe if there's some time spare, I might, try and look for information on fairies in the library. But I have to focus on getting this evening stuff right.
Yeah. Okay. So John, B, are you sort of shouting out to Hawkins as you're wandering around the house to try and, or are you just assuming you'll bump into him?
I'm assuming I'll bump into him. I don't really like going around shouting.
Okay. I'll tell you what, make me an investigation roll.
I'm really nervous. Hawkins has either gone missing in mysterious circumstances or is doing something very nefarious now.
It's one success.
Okay. You spot that the door to the weapons corridor is slightly ajar. You've been sort of looking around for Hawkins, and the normal places that you might expect him, you haven't spotted him. And then you spot that this door is slightly ajar.
I would like to sneak up and peer through the door. Because if it's a weapons corridor, it might not be Hawkins.
You peer in. It is Hawkins, and he is sort of vigorously brushing the sort of join between the floor and the wall at one very specific point of the weapons corridor. I'm going, come on. And he's sort of, because he's sort of leaning over to do it, and then he sort of stands up and like rubs his back a little bit, and then leans forward and carries on again.
Can I see what, as he stands up, can I see what he's trying to scrub at?
Not really from where you are.
Okay. Hawkins.
And it's specifically brushing. It's like a sort of small, like dustpan brush that he's kind of trying to.
Yeah. Okay. Hawkins.
Yes. Yes.
You're all right there.
Oh yeah, just some stubborn dirt, I think.
Wander over and try and have a look at it.
Coming out about, what would that be, 1.5 inches from the wall, and probably at a width of sort of 6 to 8 inches, is just what looks like, the way that you would describe it is like a trodden path. So it could easily look like sort of just dirt to be swept away, but you, especially as somebody who has spent a lot of time out in those sort of areas where that kind of thing is, that's the nearest thing that you could relate it to.
Is it near the cupboard?
So the cupboard was out of the weapons corridor, wasn't it? From my understanding, like just out of the end of it. Yeah. So this is within, like, the weapons corridor, as far as you're aware, is sort of like there's a door at either end, but apart from that, it's sort of like a straight walls.
Right. Okay. This might be an odd question, but are there any train sets in the house? One that looks like one of these.
Not that I've seen. There are sections of the house, as you know, that are closed off. I wouldn't like to say with any degree of certainty that there is not one in the house, but certainly not with easy access, I wouldn't have said.
Oh, I really want to open a room and it's just the model train room, and it's just model trains running when we open it. Sorry.
We'll look into that with our development points. All right.
I believe there's a store around the corner. If is this for young Adam?
No, it's mysterious gift Mosling received earlier this evening.
Interesting.
I can't remember if we've mentioned it to you, but we might have a house guest. Who?
Yes, Rupert did mention that.
It's possible they might be behind that as well.
Well, just reasonably innocuous as gifts from mythical beings go, I suppose.
I don't know if you'll have much luck with that, Hawkins.
Yes, I'm beginning to think that myself. And he sort of stands, and if you go to leave, he'll follow you out.
Yeah.
And kind of on his way out, sort of following you, he kind of looks at it again and picks up like a little stool and just puts it over the...
I will politely pretend I didn't notice that.
And looks very, very pleased with himself if you spot him as he kind of turns to wander back out. So Steve Henry is prepping for this evening. I'm happy that, because I mean, it was, you've probably still got, even after getting ready, you've probably still got 3 or 4 hours before you would need to be at the theatre. So if you just wanted to leaf through some books again.
Yeah. I'll try finding information on fairies. Given the recent...
Okay, so I'm happy to have like another investigation roll from people who are looking for things, because it's like a reasonable amount of time. So anybody, if Constance is still looking also, and I don't know what B wants to do with the rest of the afternoon.
I was hoping to piggyback off Bonneville's research as well. I was going to specifically go to Bonneville and kind of be like, could you find out what, if anything, is in there about what fairies like? I was thinking, if given it seems to be something that could communicate, if I could draw its attention, maybe try and, capture it or have a chat with it in some way, we could find out what's going on.
That's a good idea. Yes, that's might distract it from mousing someone. That would be good.
I got 2 successes this time.
Nice.
After days of reading through books and getting nothing.
God. Last time was dry on the dice rolls. I've got 3 successes tonight.
Woo!
So suddenly all of the fairy information.
John, is B investigating further?
I think I might actually, it's not efficient roleplay, but I think I might actually spend the rest of the evening with Adam and try and get him down for bed before I go out to the theatre.
Very sensible. Okay, 2 successes and 3 successes.
Cue lots of reading of the book.
You find Constance. You find whether or not this is because you're specifically looking for this kind of thing or not. You find that a way to drive them away is there's no further detail given than this. So a verbatim entry in like a society book is that they were driven away by walking their paths and ringing a bell from a church and sprinkling holy water. And Steve Bonneville finds that they will often leave of their own volition if they feel they have been outsmarted.
Okay. That's an interesting one.
Or maybe spurned.
Told very firmly, yes.
By the objects of their affections.
Well, I would relay this information to. So there's okay, yeah. I.
Oh,
it's not
sorry.
really-
And also, Sam said that he was going to
Yes.
try and get you to look for things that they like.
Well, Moslem, clearly.
Just put Mosling somewhere and watch him. That's what I was trying to do earlier. It didn't work.
I'd laugh if it actually referred to Mosling in the book.
They are often noted as being sort of as being closely connected to nature, so sort of animals and plants. So you could maybe take from that they, if there was some kind of animal they may be interested in befriending.
It would be, we could get a small puppy, but then if the fairy, then just eats the puppy, that would be upsetting.
I mean, have you communicated
yeah.
with the Hucks?
I will. Yes, I'm not sure. There's a. Well, there are some things to go on here. I'm not sure it helps us in our ultimate goal, but they seem to be. Yes, they seem to be fond of nature or animals. So perhaps, I don't know if we floral display, perhaps, or a. Is there a pet shop nearby?
Maybe just dig up some of the yard and put in a pot. I might interest it. Could try that first. Then I guess we go to the pet shop.
Gladys, upon finding this very exciting, Constance, upon finding this very exciting information, will leave Gladys knitting and go and find the others to say, I think we can get rid of them. I think I found something.
I love the fact.
I'm like grabbing a shovel, ready to get some soil from the garden when you come in.
I love the fact that this reinforces Constance's sort of, theory about everything is just holy water, prayer. That's it. That's what you need.
When will you learn?
Justin?
Because, I hadn't realised how early it was in my attempt to leave. Well, I might swing by. I might see if I could try and find a pub on the way back. I don't want to get back too early. It would disrupt the normal flow of the household things that go on when I'm not there. So maybe I could find a pub, maybe one where journalists like to drink. See if I could find maybe a place where we might find Ben, and ask him about his. See if I could get some information about his strange dreams.
Okay, so
that might require me traipsing around London a bit, asking a few places. But
yeah,
that's what I'd like to try and do.
So you'd probably, I imagine, head to near the Times offices and look at what pubs were nearby. Yeah, I'm happy.
I'll probably check in there, check in first and see if he's in the building. But if he's not in the building, then maybe, and it's after work, then maybe check the pubs.
Yeah, it'll still be work time when you wander past, and you can see him in there through the window.
What is the best way to ask a young man out to a drink? I might stop at a bar opposite, and case the joint, see if where he goes, see what his thing is. Ben, we need to know more about Ben. That's right. That's what I feel. I can sit there with a cup of tea, or coffee, or something stronger, depending on how I'm feeling.
Yeah, sure. So you can see that there are a couple of people who you're pretty certain are journalists sitting in this bar. May have knocked off early, maybe waiting to chat to somebody. So you think it's a pretty good bet that this is, a favourite of the people in the office.
While I'm here, I might as well, engage some fellow gentlemen in conversation broadly about the people who work in that office, not just Ben, but also Ben's employer, the journalist whose name I always forget. I always forget everyone's name, obviously. But
Albert Bradley.
Bradley, yes. Get onto that conversation. Just like go try and get some information, anything we can use. Anything, Mosling always likes to write down the weaknesses of people in his life, and this is this would be the part of that process. Happy to make a roll if you think it would be useful or whatever. That'll be my evening's work.
Okay. Yeah, I think if you can give me either a manipulation of because of your thing, inspiration would also be fine.
Fantastic. Journalists using journalist talent on journalists. Ooh. Get 1 success.
Okay. Yeah, so you get
dice.
chatting to a guy, and he says, "Yeah, well, you know, I am a bit concerned at the idea of Bradley becoming editor. Well, you may not believe this, but I'm a believer of sort of journalistic integrity, and I'm not sure that he embodies that particularly. I mean, did you see his front page today? And that picture, good God.
I mean, the picture wasn't too bad, but
well, yes, the headline was the picture looked, you know, magnificent next to that headline. God, dreadful.
Obviously. I mean, you know, he's approached me. I'm just a travel writer, really. But you know, he's approached me for leads, and I don't feel comfortable about it, really. You know, I suppose because I get about, I often hear stories, but I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm getting into something too deep. You know, I'm a bit of a bumbling writer myself, and I don't really have much of a sense for when I might be being taken advantage of.
Well, yeah, and I would say that there are certainly better reaching into his pocket for a business card people that you could be giving these leads to, of course. You know, I moved from the north for this job, and for the current editor, and I really don't want to be working with, well, under Bradley. But that seems to be the way that the wind is blowing.
What about his assistant, Ben? He seems like a perfectly reasonable chap. Don't know how did he get stuck with him?
Well, he's not very confident, is he, Ben? So he's, you know, a powerful person, throws the weight around, and he fawns after them, I think.
He seemed a little troubled last time I saw him. I hope, you know, I don't know. Maybe this is just me, a bit of a maternal instinct. I've got a family in London, but I look at him and I go, you know, there's a young man who maybe needs a boost.
Well, I think I would if I was sat that close to Bradley every day. Poor kid. But yeah, I think he's got aspirations. I just feel like maybe he's not sitting at the right desk for them to flourish at the moment.
Well, I'll keep chatting away with with tea and beer until I spot Ben coming out.
Yeah, you see him leaving sort of a little while after 5. Are you going to try and grab him? Like, not grab him, but, you know.
I think I might try and stalk him to see if he's going for a drink somewhere.
Okay. Are you going to bother being stealthy?
I am, with my new 1 point in stealth.
Would you like to give us a roll?
I now have a total. Okay, I've 4. It's precision, so I have 4 dice from precision and 1 point in stealth. So that's not the worst.
There's no way this can go horribly wrong.
Well, I rolled 2 successes, so that
Nice.
went pretty well. As you know, Steve, there is a correlation between how few dice you roll and how many successes you get. The more dice, the fewer successes. So
Yep.
it's...
Yep.
So he... are you following him until he goes wherever he's going?
I don't like if he looks like he's going home, I'm not intending to stalk him home. Like, even
Okay.
Mosling realizes that A, that's odd, and B, probably takes me the wrong direction for getting home himself. And so I'd more like to see if I could bump into him in a public social setting.
So he does look to be going home. He's walking at a reasonable pace. It's not raining now, but he's almost walking like somebody would walk if it were raining and they didn't have an umbrella on them.
Sure. Does he have an umbrella on though?
He does.
Yeah. Well, then in that case, what I'll do is I'm going to peel off and head to the theatre, where I hope to catch the gang before they go into their performance. And I'll set up in a similar fashion, kind of opposite the theatre, with a pint or a cup or something, or a baguette.
Perfect. So Henry and B are going to the theatre. Hooks and Constance?
I mean, Constance was just telling us about how to get rid of this fairy while I was making my plans to try and draw the fairy to me.
Yes, so I don't know what this finding its pathways thing means, but I suppose there must be some sort of route in that it has. So perhaps that's all it is. We need to sprinkle it with holy water. Church bells might be a little bit of an issue, but I suppose, or perhaps there's a bell in the chapel somewhere. That would probably do. Yes, I think there's something we can do here. Perhaps we could even clear the space before Mosling comes back in the morning, put his mind at rest.
Yeah. John, did B mention the thing you found Hawkins was looking at?
It's an interesting.
Or would she upon hearing this?
Well, B might. I suppose no. This was still before the theatre, isn't it? So
yeah, I don't think B had mentioned it. No,
but you might be in this conversation.
Well, I'm taking care of Adam.
Oh yeah, true. So you're not
for the evening.
Okay. Well, I guess my response then will be: we could ask Hawkins. He might know if there's been any stuff going on in the house more than anybody.
Sam, I would have mentioned the outsmarting thing to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, just so you're aware of that.
I suppose it's difficult to understand what outsmarting a fairy might mean if we don't know what its purpose is. Can't thwart what it wants to do if we don't know what it's trying to do.
To be perfectly honest, I want to find out why it's so interested in Gale more than anything. I mean, yeah, getting rid of it's a priority, but why him?
Who knows? Why did the pixies pick that spot? Why did the Spartus find poor Gladys?
Well, yeah, but the pixies picked that spot because of that stone circle magic thingy, and Gladys got this thing because someone wanted rid of it, and she happened to be the unlucky sap who was that. We don't know what the thing is with Gale yet, do we?
Perhaps poor Mosling's also just an unlucky sap. That was the first one they clocked eyes on when they came in. Maybe they imprint like a little. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think the most important thing is getting rid of it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I haven't put my shovel down. I think. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Are you ready for the theatre, Mr. Bonneville?
I believe I am. Yes, we should perhaps I'll see if I don't know whether we're on first name terms with B yet.
I think you're only on first name terms.
Oh, of course, sorry.
I know it took some getting digging to get the surname, didn't it? That took a friendly train conversation or something.
Yes, I'll see whether B is ready, and then we can perhaps head out.
I'm not sure this is the wisest course of action, but the thought occurred, so I thought I'd run it past you all. Obviously, Gladys would recognize Rachel. If we're not quite sure, the description is obviously quite vague, and we haven't got. The theatre will be full of people who could well match her description unless we can get some further intelligence about where she's sitting. Perhaps we can maybe, if purchase tickets to sit if available, obviously, to sit alongside or nearby or anything like that that might help us kind of identify, make sure we know we've got the right woman. But it's also potentially quite a dangerous position to put Gladys in. So I don't think that's a wise thing to do, but would it be helpful?
I don't know. I was thinking about this. It depends whether we want to trigger a confrontation there or tail this Rachel Brown back to where she lives. I imagine, well, there's certainly something to be said for, I'm sure the surprise of seeing Gladys again might elicit a useful response. But yes, at that point, I'm not sure we would be in control of what happened, and I wouldn't be then surprised at all if Rachel Brown decided to flee.
That seems like a very dangerous choice to me, taking her out to the most busy place, something that's likely to provoke we don't know what.
Perhaps if we find where Rachel Brown lives, or if we could try to approach her this evening without Gladys's presence. We could say that we have a friend in common, and drop Gladys's name and see how she responds. But then again, at that point, the gig is very much up. It's
Well, if you wanted to go, sister, I'll be staying. I think it's not really my scene, so I can keep an eye on Gladys if you want.
You're very welcome to do so. I'm not sure if I can help much at the theatre. Although maybe she'd be more willing to speak to another woman. But perhaps not as well. I will take your lead, Mr. Bonneville. If you think it's best, maybe just to surveil, essentially. Just watch her, see if we can identify her and find her, or speak with her. The investigation's not so much it's not really my expertise.
Yes, I think my concern really is that we only have currently one lead. So I would prefer to have a few more threads at our disposal before we approach her directly. If we can find out where she lives or some more of her contacts, then we have a greater chance of finding her again if she does decide to flee.
I think that's something. I think perhaps I'm best trying to get rid of this fairy this evening. See if we can make the place safe again for Mosling, and then we can see if we need to speak with her or how best to approach Rachel, if we can find out some more information there, or if we do want to try Gladys to help us with that. I'm sure she'd want to help. I'm not, like I say, I'm not sure it's the wisest thing of her emotional state, but it might prove useful. And I suppose sometimes you've got to confront things that are difficult, regardless. But for the time being, perhaps I'm best placed here, trying to cleanse this house.
Yes, you're probably right. We shouldn't forget the potential danger the Spiritus might be. I hope that our measures are keeping it at bay, but well, we have no real way of knowing. We can only put our trust in.
We can only have faith.
Indeed.
So far, Gladys is coming on rather well. She's near enough finished her first scarf. I think we'll get to work on a little blanket next, and alternate some little squares, make a nice big blanket. And I thought perhaps I might take her to one of the local hospitals once we've got a couple of scarves to distribute among some of the children, things like that. Perhaps she could read to some of the children, things like that. Very good deeds, I think, would be also give her an opportunity to get out in a hopefully fairly safe environment to do so. And perhaps even serve as a distraction for this reporter fellow who keeps following us about if there's anything else we need to be doing in a few more days' time. But yes, I think supporting Gladys is something that would be still very valuable to do here.
I agree. Yes. Right. I guess I should see whether B is ready. If time has moved on appropriately.
I imagine B is probably dressed the same, not going into the theatre, and probably wouldn't dress any differently, even if she was.
Yep.
Great. Okay, so you head over to the theatre.
She might not dress any differently, but does she have her rifle with her?
Unless someone tells her not to take it. I did actually look up what the legal firearm laws were.
Oh,
in
right.
London.
Okay.
And there weren't strict, like it was open carry until about 1870 something. So there's nothing illegal about carrying my gun everywhere I go.
Well,
what's the date again in this?
1860.
Okay, well, I love the idea that we're like maybe 5 years away from when it becomes completely illegal, and B's like,
yeah, it's going to be unbelievable because of B's actions.
I was going to say, is B the trigger for that law coming in?
But I will take my gun with me unless someone advises that I shouldn't.
You can always put it in the cloakroom.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, I'm not coming in, but would you mind storing this? Okay.
I think
I might also like I might be like my neckerchief or like my coat might be slightly damp. And if you look at me funny, I will explain Adam needed a bath. That's it.
Cool. So you head out. Are you walking down? You can. It's not so far that you couldn't, but you could obviously get there faster in a carriage if you wanted to.
I think walking is probably less words
Obtrusive.
obvious. Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep. So you arrive and sort of near a wall opposite, you happen to spot Gale.
I thought you were going home.
I will. After this, I realised that you would be coming out this way, and you might have some news.
Well, not yet. But if you hold on, perhaps.
I look at my watch. I suppose I could delay the family return. Got a pint waiting for me back at this pub over here anyway, and.
Yes, well, we're just about to see if we can spot Rachel. Set up a. They wouldn't set up a perimeter. That's the sort of thing,
Worth noting as well, outside the theatre, so there is a small queue, but also the play is A Midsummer Night's Dream, so there are people sort of dressed up. They may be the actors and actresses from the play, you're not sure, but there are people outside sort of interacting with the people in the queue as what look like characters from the play.
Okay.
Yes, rather unfortunate choice, really, isn't it, given the situation?
Well, this is a.
Is it?
Well, yes.
If you say so. I have no idea what this play is about.
That's fair. I don't. I'm Mosling it finds it ridiculous, impossible to believe that no one could know one of the plots of Midsummer's Night Dream was. It just thinks B is being obstinate.
Oh,
B
God.
doesn't clock with all the fairies prancing about. That's what you might be referring
Are they
to.
fairies or are they just actors? They're dressed weird.
That one has a donkey's head.
Do fairies have donkey heads?
I don't know.
Anyway,
So who's going in? Who's going in?
It was my. So I guess we can discuss this quickly between ourselves. It was my intention that I'm kind of dressed up to go in and watch the play. I thought I'd be trying to sort of keep an eye on her within the theatre. Hopefully we can spot her as she goes in. So if people keep an eye out outside, I'll keep an eye out inside, see whether she's with anybody, that sort of stuff. And the intention being that when she leaves, somebody sneaky, i.e. B, follows her wherever she goes. It's foolproof. It's, you know.
It is foolproof. Maybe you could ask someone who works at the theatre who knows her to point her out for you.
I mean, we have a good description. I don't want to be too obvious about. I did talk to the ticket attendant earlier on today. So,
well, as you said, it's foolproof.
you could ask for a ticket near your friend if there's spaces.
Yes, the slight. So this is my brain being all paranoid. And if I were to do that, and they said, "Oh yes, here's a ticket. You're sat right by her. Oh look, she's here now. Rachel, here's your old friend." Then instant confrontation. So I'm kind of I'm.
You can talk your way out of it, Steve.
So
I don't know.
That's fine. That means we have a positive ID. And Henry just doesn't get to see the play.
Yeah.
Shame to miss it.
Nah, that's too. Nah, you can't risk that. That would just be too much of a shame. Not worth it.
Maybe we could say that her car's parked illegally. Well, the owner of the carriage with the license plates.
You've left your horse's lights on. Sure. I don't know.
I'm going to make a pass in front of the theatre to see if I can see anyone matching that description already queued up.
Is there a separate sort of queue or for members? Is there like a priority?
Not that you can tell from here. John, if you're doing a pass, can you make an investigation roll? There are a few people who match the vague description. I'm going to see basically whether or not you are able to spot the scar that was mentioned without drawing attention to yourself.
One success.
Okay. You're not 100%, but you think that you've there's a small chance that it's like a bit of hair that's in this, but you think that it's this person.
Okay.
There's sort of, I will say, 3 or 4 people who vaguely fit the description. And there is one that you think you've spotted the scar on, essentially.
I will point each of the maybes out to Henry and then indicate the one that I think has a scar.
Okay. I might then, if we've got no other discussions, well, I guess I can come back. I would, if I can walk to the ticket place to get a ticket by some of the other candidates and sort of observe them as I go past to try and...
Sure. Can you also make me a roll?
Sure. Investigation, was that?
Yes, please.
Okay, that will be, again, 8 dice, which is, it's guaranteed to, well, 1 success. So.
Okay. You don't spot a scar on any of the others.
I should have arranged some sort of, signal to indicate. I'll buy my ticket, and then
it's the same guy on the counter.
Oh, great!
And he says, "Oh, hello again, sir. 1 ticket, is it?"
Yes, please.
He takes the money and hands you a ticket and says, "Hope you enjoy the view."
Thank you. I shall study the ticket, the seat number, and yes, if I'm able to get back to sort of wander around. I presume we don't have to go in yet. You can just get your ticket and.
Oh yeah, you can just purchase the ticket. Yeah.
So I will go back to B and say yes, you were on the money. That's the one.
So, do we want to approach, or do we want to wait and follow?
I think we want to wait. I've got a ticket. I will. Yes, I'll go in, keep an eye on her, try and get some information within, and then. Yes, how many exits? Yes, just checking out potential exit locations for the theatre. Is it nicely? Do we need to cover any alternate exits?
So down a sort of side alley, there is what you think maybe like a performer's door.
Sure.
But, there's not really fire regs to the same degree. It's basically this front door. So you could cover the back one if you wanted to be, if she were to, for whatever reason, go out that way, you could have it covered, but you don't think you'd probably need to.
Well, I'll point them out to B and Mosling.
I'm happy to lurk.
Henry, you totally said wait because you want to see the play, didn't you?
You're not there, so I don't have to tell you. Anyway, look, it could be research into fairies,
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so B and Mosling. So Mosling, are you planning on sort of being around a corner in that alley just to sort of cover that?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
And B, are you going to be sort of in this spot across the street where you are anyway?
Yeah. Would it be possible for me to find a place where I can see the front doors, but also see Mosling? If not necessarily the door that he's looking at, but just so that if he goes, I'll be able to see him.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think probably when he stands still down there, because it's not really lit, you can't really see him, or like it's a bit difficult to spot him. But I think you think if he gesticulated, you would see that movement in the dark.
If there was frantic movement,
yeah,
like if
flailing,
being attacked,
some might say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's quite a cold evening. All the cloud cover has disappeared from the rain. So it's pretty, you could imagine it getting down to sort of 0 as it gets on towards midnight. So you'd probably both be pretty wrapped up, and I imagine Henry would have sort of an overcoat over his smart clothing. So Hux and Constance, you're sort of hanging out with Gladys?
I feel like our intentions are somewhat opposite here. So,
Well, Constance was going to go looking for a bell and asking Hawkins if there's any kind of evidence or for a hand on looking for where fairy entry points might be to start this cleansing ritual.
And Hux, knowing that there is no point trying to stop Constance, is intending to, before Constance does the cleansing ritual, try and see if I can have a word with said fairy by drawing it in with some nature, which currently is grabbing a shovel full of soil and bugs and maybe some plant from the garden and dumping it in a pot and bringing it inside.
Poor Hawkins.
I'm trying to just get all the really interesting bugs I can. Maybe I'll even try and catch a rat if I can do, but that might be too much. In a cage, not just in my hands.
Oh, this is brilliant.
So I'm there, like, chatting to Hawkins, like, do you know where a fairy might come in? And Hawkins goes, what are you doing with those worms? If you're racing past in the background.
Squealing
Sam,
rat.
if you're trying to capture an actual animal, can you make me an agility roll?
Yeah, sure.
I think that makes the most sense.
6 dice. Oh, I'm so disappointed I failed.
Okay.
You can push.
I think I'll live with the bugs and plants.
Yeah, so you've got basically like a plant pot of whatever size that you want.
I try to avoid being seen while moving around the house with this. I don't really want people asking me what I'm doing. But, I suppose people might run into me.
Yeah, I think as you come back into the house, Eleanor is in the hallway and kind of raises an eyebrow, but doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I won't. Unless I'm like stopped by someone asking me, I think I'll just keep going. Maybe I'll just shrug.
Where are you planning to put this?
I don't think I know about B's spot. I don't think B told anyone about the spot where the maybe home of it was. And the place that Hawkins found its track also we don't know about. So it's, for me, I think it's either one of the shelves I saw it looking at Gale, the end of the hallway, or just Gale's room. Given Gale isn't in his room, I think I'm just going to do that and put this in his room, and then maybe find a dark corner to just sit in his room, maybe like on the floor in a way that it wouldn't expect me to be. So it doesn't, because it expects people to be tall or whatever. So I'm kind of just trying to subtly nestle myself.
I love it. This is great.
Just to confirm, I'm just going to. I know this is true, but the lock on the door is no problem for you then.
Oh, that's a good point. Have you locked the door?
I have, but I didn't assume. I don't think Hux with his crowbar of lock.
No, I think I would
consider that to be a problem.
I think first of all, I would ask Hawkins if he's got a key for your room. I'll say it's because
I really hope that sitting in the dark with a plant pot counts as outsmarting a fairy.
Like, just carrying a bucket of soil.
People to be close to the floor.
I didn't say Hawkins was the smartest person in the world.
Just carrying a bucket of soil. I'm like, do you have a key for
this plan is flawless. No. I leave the soil. Probably covered in dirt. Go to find Hawkins. I'll go. I just wanted to get into Mosling Forcemart's room to see if I could catch this pixie.
Leave some soil on the pillow.
Oh, the new visitor.
Yeah, it's Pixie, we think. Seeing if I can get it. Find out what's going on. Do you have a key for his room?
Yes. Yes, I'm sure he won't mind if it's for society business. And he goes off to he's got one key, and there's a cabinet in the kitchen, and he opens that, and it's got a bunch of keys in. And he grabs one out and takes you up and unlocks the door.
Cool. I will not say a word about the big tub of soil and presumably writhing bugs.
He doesn't either.
Cool.
He's very well trained.
Probably trailed mud up here, and now it's probably about now that I realize I have made an awful mess. Now I'm talking to Hawkins, and I've got it upstairs, and I'm just kind of looking a little sheepishly. Maybe as he walks off, I even go, sorry about the mess," and then I'll shuffle in.
He says, "No problem at all. Let me know when you're done, and I'll lock back up."
Yeah, and then I'll do what I said. Put it in the middle of the room, settle in a dark corner.
Okay, how long are you planning on staying there?
What time? What sort of time is it by when they're going to the theatre?
6:30, something like that.
Probably a good 3 or 4 hours, I think. I'm working to not fall asleep. I think I managed that at this time, given I had a snooze earlier.
Okay. So Constance.
Looking for a bell first in the chapel, and if she can't find one in the chapel, she'll try Hawkins and then see if she can bless a bell and make it of the chapel. But she'll look for a proper chapel bell first.
Okay. I suppose it's going to be an investigation roll. I kind of want like a luck roll, but I don't know how you would do that. So, in fact, roll me a d6. On a 1, 2, 3, there isn't one there. On a 4, 5, 6, there is. It seems fair.
A 6.
Oh, nice. Okay, yes, you find a bell. Quite like a dainty, it's quite a high-pitched, not like shrill, just quite like a quiet, high-pitched, small bell.
Perfect, that's fine. And then we'll go looking for Hawkins to see if he can give any intel about possible routes in for things like fairies, something that might be considered a fairy pathway.
Cool. So you catch him sort of walking just past Mosling's room, back down towards the kitchen. Oh, hello.
Oh, Hawkins. Yes, just the man I was looking for. I am looking for anything that could be a potential entry route for a fairy into this house. I'm looking for essentially something that could be deemed a fairy pathway. I'm assuming that's some sort of probably some sort of route into this house where they might have kind of infiltrated. I think we've got a method of getting rid of this thing.
Have you checked the doors, sister? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I know there's that the Sir Rupert and Eleanor, they sort of friendly with these other creatures, Vetir, I think. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that you mean.
I don't know anything about these Vetir. What do you mean they're friendly with them?
From my understanding, I think you or some of the group saw Eleanor having a conversation with one the night that you first met them.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are some sort of small openings in the side of the building that and some other buildings that allowed them entry. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that you might be looking for, but I mean, it's a big old house, and there are sort of holes and.
Yes, if you could point me in the direction of any of those and highlight those for me. Do you think it's likely that you mentioned doors as well? It could surely they can't just be coming in and out of normal doors.
Well, I think that there may be some kinds of, I don't know what you would call them, but protections on the entrances to the building put there by the society. So I can't imagine that one could just wander in, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's all been here for quite a long time.
Surely we noticed the doors were just opening and closing in the middle of the night or middle of the day, and we didn't know who was coming in and out.
Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, I can point out a couple of sort of gaps in the side of the building to you. If you
Yes, thank you, Hawkins. And these other the little doorways that you meant, the vetted doorways.
Yeah, that's what
perhaps
I mean, sister. I
fairies
can show
also
you to
use.
those.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much, Hawkins.
So he takes you out, and he initially takes you to where you'd sort of first seen, you know, where you all met on the first night. And he said, I'm sure that, and, you know, points the place out. And he said, anyway, I think there's a couple of those on Rose House. So, and then takes you around and kind of points out a couple of, they're sort of, so at the base level of the building, there are sort of, they're almost like square drain pipes is what you would describe them as, like under the building. And he says, I'm not exactly sure where they go, but sometimes I think they use them. But then, having said that, I don't think I've ever seen the Vetir actually in, you know, visible in the house. So I couldn't tell you whether they actually go inside per se.
Presumably these are also too small. Like the wording was that, you know, walk the pathways. Like presumably this is something that
you
Constance
cannot
couldn't actually walk. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. And we can't see an actual entrance to them into the building. They just seem to go underneath somewhere. Yeah,
I mean, you know, if you were to, you know, sort of shine a lantern, like a directional lantern in there, you think maybe you can see that it bends off or bends upwards, like it looks like it gets to an end. So it goes off in some other direction, or it stops there, but you find that quite unlikely. But from the distance, you can't tell which direction it actually goes in. You could just see like a back wall to it.
How much? This is going to be like the most constant question ever. How far does holy water go? Like how many doorways? If I want to traipse around like, the whole house, like I mean, how much do I need to ration holy water? Do I need to, you know, pick a more targeted pathway?
You know those sprayers, those pesticide sprayers, big bottles on your back with the pump spray? I imagine like Constance was one of them with holy water.
If she could have one of those, oh my god. Yeah. But yeah, I'm assuming it needs to be a bit more targeted than that. Like a vial would maybe go like, you know, would do a doorway, sort of like a path, like in one route or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, how big's a vial? It's probably like a few milliliters, right? It's not going to be like a half liter or anything. So, so yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, you could sort of these bits, you could quite easily, you know, with one vial, you could close those off if that were sort of that you're thinking.
Yeah, because well, I think it's so the line of thinking at the moment is that I'm not sure we have a very firm idea of what these pathways might be. And while it seems like a good idea to try and close these off, and you know, holy water, it's, you know, general application, it seems to work on everything, so you know, can give those a go. But is it, you know, just thinking, is it also worth trying the main entrances into the house, or if it have to be a bit more targeted, like maybe just trying like Mosling's room, like the entrance, like the pathway into, you know, how you would walk into Mosling's room to at least like clear his space for him.
Okay.
But yeah, so
I'm happy that you
how
have
much
enough to
holy
do
water
that.
is available. Okay,
You might
cool.
notice the door is unlocked.
You probably wouldn't try the door, would you?
Yeah,
I don't
fair.
imagine that you would try the door to Mosling's room.
No, I mean, it's just I guess what the pathways, would I interpret that to mean that I need to go in through the door? Maybe they come in through windows as well. Maybe it is necessary. I'm going to roll a dice 3 to 4, 5, 6, I'm going to assume I do need to go through the door. It's a 3, so I don't. I'm going to assume I just need to go up to the door.
I could definitely
Maybe
hear
like
you
a
outside.
smattering.
Yeah, I could definitely hear you outside
Yeah.
faffing about, and I just kind of punch up a bit tighter, like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how much of the trail of just soil do you see as you approach the door, though? That's the question.
How messy have you been?
I guess it depends how efficient Hawkins is being too.
I was going to say that Hawkins will have almost certainly cleaned this up by the time that you've got to the chapel, especially like having failed to clean something up earlier. He's probably got something to prove, at least to himself. I can clean the house.
Will I? I might. So Hawkins, sorry, not Hawkins. Hux has mentioned that you mentioned earlier, didn't you, that you'd seen the fairy? So I might try and call out for you, see if I can find you first to see where exactly it was that you found the fairy, to see if that will help me figure out which doorways, if there's like a look for a doorway here kind of thing. But otherwise, I think I will try first, like the kind of path up to Mosling's door, and then if I've got any more holy water that I can try, I will try the just general front entrance and the little side vetir drain pipe things as well.
Are you calling out when you're like right outside the room? I'm just randomly. What do you think?
I mean, if our rooms are quite close together and I can't otherwise find you in the house, I'll maybe assume you're in your room and come banging on your door and calling
I think
your name.
Given you're out in the hallway, I'm probably safe to assume the pixie isn't going to show up right now with your holy water and everything. So I'll get up like, oh, and kind of just open the door from Mosling's room and just be like, hey, what do you want?
This is not your room.
No, I know. I asked Hawkins to let me in. I'm trying to see if I can catch Pixie in my own way. Figured it wanted to get in there.
Right. Well, we've got the bell, and the holy water. So I'm going to walk this. Well, I was going to ask you where you'd seen the fairy.
I'll point down the hallway. And then I guess I can just tell you like a few other spots up on shelf tops and stuff in the library and in the kitchen, I think.
Oh, it's been all over.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how it gets around. Might just run really fast along the floor, or maybe it's got roots through the walls. I don't know.
Oh, this might take some days. Wait. You also have some holy water on you. I've given everybody vials.
Yeah. I'll just hand it to you. I probably just keep everything in pockets.
I'm gonna make a start then. I think I'm gonna try the sort of the path up. I guess from front door to. I guess how far back do I need to do I need to walk this pathway? God. I will do whatever seems like the most obvious, like as far as I feel like is an obvious bit that kind of leads to Mosling's door in particular, and start there, and then, or maybe I'll start at Mosling's door and then work my way back to the front door, going as far as I can with my
ringing the bell
ringing and such. Yeah.
As you're leaving, I'll just say, remember to keep an eye on Gladys in all this. Just make sure she's right and everything. And then I will go slump down with a sigh and just say to myself, it's never going to show up now.
It's probably about dinner time. So I hope Gladys is having dinner and Hawkins is about. Or sure. Is that okay to say, Jonny? It's getting into evening, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it's getting to evening.
I'll start bell ringing and water sprinkling.
Okay. Back at the theatre. Is Henry in the queue to go in at this point, I presume, once you've planned your...
Yes.
You can get to the queue and not be, we'll say that the person that you believe is Rachel Brown is sort of halfway down the queue. So if you join at the end, you'll be a decent distance and not attract any attention from her.
Lovely.
Yeah, so the queue starts to move, and you head inside. So B, you see Henry going into the theatre. You are kind of presumably keeping an eye on, the door, and then back at Mosling, and kind of having that. You notice after a little while that you can see Mosling a little better, as a final bit of cloud cover has kind of gone from over the moon, and it's completely clear night. The moon's very bright, Henry heads in and finds his seat. Are you getting sort of a drink or a snack or some theatre binoculars?
Whatever is appropriate for this. Probably some, depending on the distance. Yes, some theatre.
So you've got. You think that you've got an okay spot in this, like the circle. So yeah, you could get to your seat and then decide if you wanted to. But so you get to your seat with whatever you've decided that you want, and take your seat. And it's sort of 5 minutes until the performance is due to start, and the woman that you believe is Rachel Brown starts heading down the row in front of you, and then sits directly in front of you.
Okay.
And you probably make a mental note that you should get the name of the person on the counter in case you ever need some theatre-based assistance again.
Is she with anybody, or?
Doesn't seem to be.
Okay.
No. So it fills up, and people do sit next to her. And in fact, why don't you make me an observation roll, please?
Sure. That's empathy. So that's 4 base dice plus 2 skill dice. Nothing.
Okay. You don't think that she knows the people that are sat with her. She is talking to them, but sometimes people sit next to people who are on their own and start up a conversation with them.
Yeah.
So you don't get the impression that these are like best friends or anything. So, and then the lights are dimmed, and the performance begins. You get through the first half, and there's the interval. She gets up. I don't know if you plan on sort of tailing her throughout, or if you're going to assume that she'll return.
I would try to tail her, just to keep an eye surreptitiously.
She goes to the sort of the bar and gets herself a lemonade, and then heads back to her seat. Again, you're pretty confident now that she doesn't know those people. Like, they kind of went off separately, and then she's gone on her own. Yep, the second half begins, and goes through, and then basically ends, and it gets to the point where Puck steps out on stage and does his monologue at the end. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here, while these visions did appear. And this weak and idle theme, no more you hear a loud sound and feel a rumble. B and Mosling also feel this rumble. And there are some sort of shrieks from in the theatre, and all the lights stay on and everything. And Puck kind of goes, and this weekend idle theme, no more yielding, but a dream. A dream this all is, ladies and gentlemen. Gentles do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend. And there's sort of in the beginning a sort of like gentle clapping as people are kind of recovering from whatever's just occurred, which then does, pick up. And you're not sure what's happened. B and Mosling, nothing obvious has happened. Like, you can't see anything.
Nothing untoward. This back door that Mosling's by, does it lead? Where does it lead? It doesn't lead backstage or anything, does it?
You imagine it would lead backstage because you think
right.
this is probably an actor's and actress's entrance. Inga and Sam, can you make me vigilance rolls?
Sure. Logic is not good. Okay. No. Oh, if this is for me hiding in that room, I'm tempted to push it.
5 dice, nothing.
It's not.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. You basically at the point that they feel a tremor and hear a noise, you don't feel anything. And the lights come up and people go to leave the theatre.
Did this sound like a noise from inside the theatre or from somewhere else?
Somewhere else. You would say probably towards the river. And we'll leave it there.
Why won't they let us deal with one thing at a time?
Even without multitasking, we're dealing with fairies at the same time as we're trying to deal with
There's a lot of
Spurgeon's
stuff going on.
investigations, and there's still something we can't cover. We've got to split the party even more, guys.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
That's what I'm hearing here.
I tried to.
Yeah. My favorite thing is that me and Constance are still just going to be in the house doing our faffy bits and bobs when there's this chaotic thing going on, because neither of us noticed. So at the beginning of next session, we're just going to be like, come on, little fairy.
When whatever two major things are going on, Hux is sat in the corner trying to lure a fairy in the dark with a pot of bugs.
The thing is, now that Constance is doing her thing, it's totally going to make me want to sit there longer in a kind of stubborn frustration.
I need art. I need John to start drawing art of bugs sat in a room with a pot of mud.
Thank you, everybody that's been watching. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat and we will flash them up on screen and discuss them. I'll do the promo stuff now and then we'll do XP. Other things on so we do this on a Monday night. On Wednesdays, we do Simba Room. On some weekend days a month, we do different one-shots with different GMs and players, different stories and systems and games. The next one is this Saturday at 3 p.m. Are we GMT? No, we're BST now, aren't
BST,
we?
BST.
3 p.m. BST. Please use your favorite search engine to convert that, or a chart that you might have on your wall if you're really interested in time conversions. I have an interesting fact about that I'm going to say about in a minute.
Don't save it to the end. Keep it wanting more.
So this Monday, Simba Room Wednesday. This Saturday is Goblin Quest at 3 p.m. BST. And then the next one after that is the 14th of May, and I'm going to be running a Meatloaf-inspired nonsense game, which I'm really looking forward to.
The musician rather than the food stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
not
that's a
the food
good
stuff.
point.
Yeah. Links to things like our YouTube and our social media, Discord and Patreon are below the stream if you want to get involved in those things. My little factoid before we do XP is that between 10 a.m. and 11:59 a.m. UTC, which is basically GMT, there are 3 days happening in the world. Because some places are up to plus 14 hours from UTC, and then some are minus 12. So if it's 10 a.m. Wednesday here, there will be somewhere that is midnight the day before, and then some places that are like 1 a.m. the next day or whatever it is. Yeah. I didn't realize that there was anywhere that was more than 12 hours different from UTC, but there are some islands that for some reason are 14 hours. I think it's maybe Christmas Island is one of them.
Some of them associate with different sides of the Pacific, don't they?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You need to work that into like a murder mystery thing or a
role-playing
scenario.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
They would have that on that Christmas island, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Santa Claus lives.
Oh, I was just going to say, remember XP? Now.
XP.
Yes.
Let's do that. For anybody watching who hasn't watched before, XP is done by asking questions at the end of every session to see what people deserve. Did you participate in the session? Yes, that's one. Did you confront any Vaesen? No, you didn't even see anyone or hear anyone or anything this one, did you?
Tried with my look, Jonny. I was trying. Okay, it's not my fault.
You don't get points for trying.
You don't get points for trying.
A previously unknown. Nobody was affected by their dark secret. I don't think.
Did we get the vetted?
We already knew them.
No, we already knew about the vetter. We had heard that.
Did we?
Before.
Yeah,
that was like the very first thing we did.
Yeah, we're all fine.
The name had even been mentioned once.
Been, yeah,
I'm
I
sure.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Certainly.
Did you take risks to protect other people? Don't think so. Have you learned anything? Yes, you've learned things. You didn't develop anything, and I don't think anybody performed an extraordinary action. So standard 2 XP. Any questions or comments, John?
We have. How do I put this? I liked this one from Inga.
Well, Mosling, so violated with all these break-ins.
I mean, like I can't believe that Hawkins just lets us into my room. I want that to happen as a player, but as a character, I feel like what is this guy's job?
Also, the funniest.
The guy who's clearly, like a known criminal out of my room.
The funniest thing will be is if I lose track of time, or you come back when it's still quite dark, and you come back into your room, and I'm still there in the corner, and there's soil there.
With a shovel.
It's like he's escalated. It's escalated from a train track to a pot of dirt.
Oh.
It means it's threatening to bury me.
I'd love it if a pot of dirt had some real personal significance to Mosling.
My family was killed by a pot of dirt.
I'll be able to make it something.
Like Mosling's brother was tragically run over by a model train many years ago.
I think right now my current thing is, train tracks that's like leading towards something inevitable. This is a sign that inevitably the fairy is going to kill me.
You're running out of track.
Exactly. Running out of a lot of things.
Holy water for one, I think.
It's more just the fact that he did this twice. So like this first one from Steve.
We find Mosling dead, stabbed through the heart with a bit of train track.
It could happen. It could happen.
You see Hawkins lying on the floor. He's been choked to death with a small locomotive.
If I keep going, one of these will be right.
Yeah.
Stop giving him ideas.
There's like this one from 42. Constance is slowly converting the house into a monastery.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. Should have just Every day, a little bit more holy water all around the place. Stop washing the walls with it. Like,
Going to be the most
yeah.
consecrated ground in London.
Then
this
it's going to be the
random
whole
house.
street. Then it's going to be all of London.
Yeah. Let's consecrate London, 100%. I mean, again, why do we not think of this? Can a place be more consecrated if, like, consecrated? Like, we just, like, keep reapplying the holy water? Is that how this
Asking the real
works?
question. Is
Let's
it
find
possible to make
out.
somewhere too consecrated?
Someone last week joked about blessing the source of the Thames
Mhm.
so that the entire river becomes holy water.
Yeah.
We're going to get, if we do that, it'll be some real homeopathy stuff going on.
That
Like
would be
how
that
diluted.
stuff.
Just
Without this faff with bacon and stuff, we're just going to bless the source of the Thames.
Yeah,
That's way easier.
I say we take off, consecrate the place from orbit.
I've just put together this shopping list as well on my notepad. I'm like, what we need to do before when we leave the theatre when nothing happens is buy a pig carcass, hire a boat, like, and then suddenly the place explodes, and I'm like, hold that for a second.
So just to go and buy a pig carcass after there's just been an explosion. So I feel like somehow that's worse than just buying a pig carcass.
I don't know.
Something's
Cool.
suspicious about
Also resubs from, well, me and Steve and ATCB Gaming. So
Nice. Thanks.
thanks, Snrubs. Snrub? I bungled the joke. It doesn't matter.
Cool. We should be back next week, I think, as far as I'm aware. Wednesday, Simba Room. Saturday, 3 p.m. BST. Goblin Quest. Going to be great. But hopefully see you all next week, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.